G'day folks, Ando from Boss Outdoor with this week's fishing report. We've taken one of the Boss tinnies up the lake to catch a few Tailor, so strap on your PFD because you're coming with me. Okay guys, we're up in the top lake. We're going to talk about the estuary fishing, but first we'll go down to Pambula and talk about what's happening down there. Out on the Broadwater there are plenty of Tailor there, and that's something we're hoping for today here in Merimbula Lake. To catch those Tailor, a lot of the guys are catching them on soft plastics, but most anglers are just trawling lures up and back and forth from Severs Beach through to Shark Hole. That stretch there is also hosting some really nice flatheads, so plenty of big flatheads still coming from that system, and I can only anticipate that that's going to get better as the water warms up and as we sort of delve into mid-October, early November. That's when all those big flathead really kick into full swing, guys, and there'll be a lot of fish around. So soft plastics in that 4-inch size would be my recommendation if you're chasing flathead. And make sure you're bombing them onto the bottom. You really want to wake those flatties up. Fish a little bit heavier head than what you normally would. Get those baits hitting the bottom, puffing up a bit of sand, creating some disturbance and vibration, and it'll call in those fish. I'm about to make a cast. We'll get this lure in the water, see if we can't troll up a Tailor, and we'll talk about the Bega River. So the Bega River's fishing really well, guys. Plenty of flathead around at the mouth and around the bridge. So the sand flats on the north side of Mogarica, near the drop-offs, there's some nice flatties sitting there if you're casting big soft plastics at them, or glide baits, or even a live mullet if you can get one. And I'm pretty sure they'll succumb to a surface lure if you work them slow enough. Speaking of surface lures, one of our Victorian visitors, Daniel Christian, went for a bit of a fish up there the other day with some surface lures. He was using a sugar pan and managed to catch a whiting on topwater. That's pretty good going. It's September topwater whiting, guys, so kudos to Daniel. Well done, mate, and keep them going. So if you want to get into a bit of whiting fishing, maybe go up to Mogarica and have a look, guys. But the brim fishing, you're still going to get your brim along the rock walls and deep edges. Most of them will be black brim. There's still a few bass in the system as well, and the EPs are in full swing in that system as well. So if you have a boat, you'll see the best of Mogarica, but if you are shore-based, around the mouth is going to fare pretty well. You're going to find an abundance of area to explore, and there's plenty of fish there to catch, guys. Well, look at that, guys. I was just about to talk about the fishing in Merimbula. It's pretty good. I'll just turn this engine off so we can have a word about the fishing in the lake. So basically all I'm doing at the moment is I'm in one of the higher tinnies and I'm just trolling some lures around, fishing for some Tailor. Now, the fishing in Merimbula has been a little quiet. We've had clear, cold water, and it hasn't been overly great. However, the old top lake, it's always producing Tailor. It's a year-round prospect, and it's just such a great way to come out with a family and catch some fish. When nothing else is biting, the Tailor will produce a little bit of fun. They're not overly large fish, but they're good fun. And if you want to get your kids onto a couple of fish this school holidays, maybe hire a Boss tinny, troll a few lures around, and catch a few of these little beauties. Look at that, what a great little fish. Now he's definitely legal. You could eat him if you wanted to, or he'd make some great baits, but I'm going to release this guy because it's just a ton of fun. So when you guys decide to come out for a fish, he's there for you to catch. I'll get the hooks out of him and we'll let him go. So the lure I'm using today, guys, is a new one from Berkeley. It's called the Stunner, and rightfully so. Check out the colours in that and the profile and the shape. So it's actually a slow sinking lure, ultra sharp hooks as you can see, and it's about 60 mil long. Well, I think it is 60 mil long, and it runs to about half a metre to a metre in depth. So it's a perfect lure for fishing the flats, and obviously for trolling for these Tailor. So I'll give you a look at that lure in a minute. We'll let this fish go. He's off to fight another day. So the lure in question just matches the bait fish stocks up here in the top lake, guys. That's exactly the profile of the bait. It's very similar in colour, Now I can imagine this lure being absolutely dynamite on brim, flathead, even whiting in the summer. It's going to catch perch, bass, trout. In fact, I'm really excited to take this away trout fishing in the next couple of weeks. So if you're looking for a lure, these school holidays to pretty much catch anything, why don't you check out the Berkeley Stunner. Okay guys, so a couple of tips to trolling this lake. Typically you want to troll around the perimeters of the lake, around the fringes of the ribbonweed. So where you have all the shallows and the ribbonweed, where they drop down into the main basin of the lake, that's where all the bait stacks up and that's where the Tailor will be hunting. If you get a little bit too close to that, you'll end up catching a bit of weed, but that's okay. Just push out a little bit wider and you'll soon find the sweet spot. Another tip is to look for some birds. If there are birds diving onto bait schools, that means the Tailor are pushing the bait schools to the surface, busting up, and then troll straight through that section or around it, and you'll be catching Tailor in no time. So if Tailor are not your thing, guys, those same areas around the fringes of the ribbonweed will host brim, flathead, trevally, and even mulloway. So if you're casting a soft plastic or a metal vibe in those areas, or even just soaking a bait, throw some burley out, drop the anchor, you're going to catch a few fish in those same areas. So instead of parking yourself right in the middle of the lake where it could be somewhat a desert, no activity, no structure, try and find some formation in a drop-off. There's an artificial reef out here. We have the coordinates in store if you want to pop in and get them off us. Otherwise, on the fringes of those weeds, cast your soft plastics into those, bounce them down the silty bottoms into the depths, and you should be getting flatties. There's plenty of flatties around, guys, just not a lot of people fishing for them. We keep speaking about these big flathead. The last 3 or 4 weeks now we've spoken about them, and they are getting caught. So if you put the time in, you will catch them, and it's only going to get better as the water warms up. So the beach fishing's still hot, guys. We've had a bit of swell. It's stirred up those sandbars, created a bit of sudsy water and foam in those gutters, and the fish have pushed into them. So I'm hearing of a few whiting and brim being caught off the beach now on beachworms, which is great. And there's heaps of salmon around, as well as Tailor if you fish into the evening. So the salmon, a lot of guys are still catching them on metal lures and sinking stick baits, but the humble pilchard guys, put a couple of cubes of pilchard on a paternoster rig, or hey, gang one up whole. That's your best bet on the beach. I like pilchards on the beach because as you catch fish, they thrash around, they spew the bait out, it burleys up the area you're fishing, keeps those fish in the hole for longer, so it's better off for you if you use bait, I believe. But you know what, throwing lures is pretty good fun anyway. There's a few squid around, out off the Marimbula Wharf and Haycock, so I reckon if you got adventurous and walked around the rock platforms at Haycock and even Tura and Long Point, you'll find some squid. But if you just want to pick on the Marimbula Wharf fishing platform, you'll find squid there early in the morning. You probably want to be first there, guys, because it is a very popular spot. There are a few salmon off the wharf as well, and the drummer is still biting, although they are small. So those really big fish we saw about a month ago, I'm not sure where they've gone, but they're still around. They're just a little bit smaller in size if you want to get some kanji or some prawns and go and fish for drummer. Out in the offshore, heaps of snapper, guys, heaps of snapper. Now, where they are, they move around a fair bit. I'm not sure if they're in spawn mode or they're just moving in on currents, but we're hearing of a lot of good catches coming from Eden right through to Tathra. So if you find yourself a patch of gravel in about that 40 metres, whether you're bottom bashing with some squid and pilchards or throwing some soft plastics around, I'm really favouring the Daiwa wave minnow at the moment, the bait junkie wave minnow. It's just got a really nice supple action and it seems to catch a lot of fish. So perhaps if you want to give the plastics a go, maybe try the bait junkie wave minnow. There are a lot of mowong around as well. So there's mowong and nannygai on the edges of those reefs. So again, you want to be fishing that rubble, that gravel, not so much on the hard reef, otherwise you're going to end up with Maori wrasse, rock cod and pike. And like while all those fish are good eating, I know you all want to catch a half decent snapper, so maybe push into the gravel. Getting off the gravel into 45 to 50 metres on the sand, there's plenty of flatties around. A lot of them are just legal, but if you push wider, you will get those bigger fish. So my tip would be to hit the 60 metre zone. You're getting big tigers mixed in with sandies, plus gurnard, plus gummy sharks. So it's worth going that little bit further. Yes, you've got to wind up a little further from 60 metres, but I think you're going to enjoy the catch rates better, plus the size of the fish. The trout fishing, guys, it's a little slow in the lake at the moment. We've had an increase in water levels, a rapid increase, so it's sort of left all the food behind. So all the weed that was starting to form and the yabbies that was just starting to recolonise, they're way down the line. So if you're going to fish the lake, I'd suggest troll with a downrigger or deep divers and get them down into about that 6 metre zone, because that's where the fish are. You will find some fish on the fringes. I managed to catch a few small rainbows there just last weekend. They were just legal, so I'm tipping they were the new fingerlings or the new stock that they've just introduced into the lake. So that fishery, I'm tipping, will fire up in the next couple of months once that water level sort of subsides a little bit and we get a little bit of vegetation growing back on the fringes. Bass fishing's still hot. Again, just be careful with the bass, guys. You know, really look after them. They are a beautiful Australian native we have. They are fragile. They can be susceptible to overfishing. So if you're fishing for them, treat them with care, release them, and yeah, I mean, just give them a little courtesy. The old bass, it's a bloody good fish, guys, and we just want to see them grow and grow and grow, and the stocks to just increase, because it has been good. So maybe just look after them if you're fishing for them. We're on to another Tailor, guys. This one's a little bit bigger. It's a better sized fish. There's plenty up here, guys. You don't have to wait too long before you start catching fish. So, I mean, right after I caught that last fish, we've just sent the lure back out. And look at that for a Tailor. What a lovely fish. Let's get him in the net. Look at that. Again, on that beautiful little Berkeley stunner. What a stunning fish. That's cool. We're going to release this guy too. Away he goes. Well, how cool is that, guys? For this week's fishing report deal, we are going to extend the 50% off all rentals, because we want you to be hooked up. We want you to come out here and catch those fish so you can have fun with your family over these school holidays. So that's it for this week's fishing report, guys. If there's anything else you need to know about bait, lure selection, or where to find those Tailor up in the top lake, come into Boss Outdoor so we can hook you up. And if you're enjoying our videos, guys, remember to like and subscribe.